Hey guys, this one's important to me. My relationship with Geoff goes back about 5 years now. Our relationship started as a professional one. I came to him for mentorship in a time of my career when I really needed it. And over the years, as he transitioned out of the Army, that mentorship turned into a friendship. I ended up being in his wedding, but I've really gotten to look at both the professional side of him and him as a friend. I can't say enough good things about him. He's such a great soldier and he is such a great friend. I'm lucky to know him. I knew I was gonna have this conversation with him, and I know it takes a lot to be vulnerable like he did. He's done a lot of work to get himself mentally to the place where he's at. So I think he's someone that anyone with post-traumatic stress or mental issues can learn from.
I was a 13 Fox in the Army, a forward observer. I called for an adjusted artillery and mortar round. Staff sergeant when I got out. The 10th Mountain and the 4th ID, 8.5 years. 2.5 of those, almost 3, I was working with Kurt directly. 2 tours overseas, 1 to Afghanistan, called about 400 fire missions. Certified Joint Fires Observer, 35 of those live drops. My name's Jeffrey Albert and I have PTSD.
Do you want to talk about the vehicle rollover?
Oh yeah, I just had a bad driver and he missed a turn.
In Afghanistan?
In Afghanistan. It was a ramp.
Okay.
As part of a road, it was, a hill, and then it had a cliff off the edge. So he took the turn, he took it too wide, and we ended up on the edge, and we were kind of teetering there. And he looks at the driver and he goes, "Don't turn left. Whatever you do, don't turn left." And he goes, "Turn left, yes sir." And just whips the wheel to the left. And everybody else heard it clear as day that he said, "Do not turn left."
Don't you have back problems from that accident?
Yeah, as part of it. A 50 cal ammo can landed on me because the tie downs came undone.
Didn't you hit an IED too?
No.
Okay.
My base got hit with a vehicle-borne IED. 6 in the morning on my birthday, actually.
Oh.
So I was about 150 meters away, not too far.
Yeah.
But the garage doors on our mechanics outpost, or our mechanics building, which was about 600 meters from the blast, all of the steel garage doors were ripped off. We had a concrete building and all the windows were blown out and the roof was shifted to the left.
Yeah.
It was about 2,500 pounds of homemade explosives.
25.
Yeah. It was a lot.
All right, so you remember going to that concert with me, right?
Yeah. What you're referring to is when I passed out at the concert, or when I shut down and had to leave the concert with help. From what I understand and talking to my doctors, it's from the multiple traumatic brain injuries that I've had. That many flashing lights with such a crowd of people and such loud music with all the vibrations from the sound system was so overstimulating to my brain that it shut down, and I wasn't even able to process a lot of what was going on around me. And I kind of went into a state, I was a little bit catatonic, is usually the word that would be used. And my doctors told me that, just when you start to feel something like that coming on, because I felt it coming on, I just didn't know what it was.
No.
I didn't know
was
if
that
maybe
the
it had
first
one or
time
two.
that happened?
Yeah, it was the first time that it happened. In a matter of 10 minutes, I went from being fine, loving the concert I was at, to needing to leave.
Yeah.
Which sucks, because it was during the main act, who I'd actually come there to see.
I think it's one of the first times we had done anything together outside of work.
Yeah, and it was just post-Kuwait. Just post-Kuwait.
We had different seats. We we were just
literally
going to the same...
You were down in the pit,
yeah,
if I remember correctly, and I was in the 130s section. Jenny got great seats.
Yeah. We met up before and just hung out before, and we were supposed to meet up afterwards.
Yeah.
We went to the spot at the concert and you weren't there. No one was answering texts. I was like, okay, they must have just gone home. I was really weirded out. And I didn't know you as well as I did now. I knew what had happened, how you'd gotten your Purple Heart, a little bit. I knew that you, just from being in Kuwait, we talked about it a little bit.
We talked about it.
But I didn't realize that was even a thing that could happen. So I
didn't either. I think using the term source of PTSD is a little bit assumptive of a phrase. It kind of indicates it might have been triggered by a single event.
Okay.
I would say that single event was, my first year in Afghanistan. But before that, my event was growing up. I have PTSD from, we got foreclosed on when I was 16.
Right.
And so I have a huge fear of, like, even now that we're moving into a house this month, I have a fear of getting foreclosed on.
Yeah.
Even though that will, likely never happen. It's a huge fear of mine just because it happened when I was a kid. And technically speaking, that is post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
It's a traumatic stressor in my life.
I'll look the stat up and put it in the video.
Okay.
But research has shown that some ridiculous amount of people have PTSD.
Yeah, man.
It's a lot more common of a problem. It's not just soldiers.
I think the source of the term PTSD is probably from, back in Vietnam we said shell shock.
Oh yeah.
Because these guys came back different. Charlie Daniels' band wrote a song called Still in Saigon, which is about a guy who's home, but he wakes up in cold sweats and sees himself still in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Still at war.
Yeah.
And if that isn't a descriptor of some of the symptoms of PTSD that people experience every day, I don't know what is. So we've been dealing with this for years. And, no matter how you want to look at 2019, we are in a certain age of enlightenment as far as mental health goes. People see mental health as not somebody needing to just suck it up and deal with their life. A lot of mental health issues are being seen. They're being seen as actual problems for folks to deal with that need to be treated by professionals. And I think now that we are broadening our understanding of what PTSD is, what the symptoms are, it's kids that have been abused have PTSD.
Yeah.
It's people who've been in car crashes have PTSD.
Yeah.
Searching through the sky, all the sounds of long ago will be forever in my head.
He recommended that I go get some inpatient treatment.
What was that experience like, going to the mental hospital?
'Cause I'm still in Saigon, still in Saigon.